Hey guys, Monster Matt here, back again with Monster Sanctuary. Now, I was gonna have this episode be an team building exercise for Congeal Team. I still want to do it. The Congeal Team will happen, but I challenged Gothelm here for one of the later challenges, specifically this one, the Champion Challenge, and he showed me a counter team to my troll Mad-Eye Grulu from the last one. My armor breakers took me absolutely apart because this team, these three right here, the Oculus, Beetloid, and Promethean, have such a staggering synergy of like just like I'll show you in a second, but like they go so well together that I couldn't kill any of them before I died, because this team, while excellent for damage over time, has a much harder time doing damage up front, whereas this team counters that perfectly with a pretty good early push. They have shielding, like, coming out of every which way, and they have really high damage once they get rolling, because it is a charge team. It actually functions a lot like our Graphonics did back in the day, back when I was using my charge stack burn team. I will say that the charge stack burn team probably has better damage over time, but this one has such ridiculous, just I'll show you. I will show you, and then I will explain to you how it happens, because oh my goodness. Let me go find some poor fool to erase off the face of this game. Some face erase. Anybody in here? Anyone? No, this is a loot one. Hang on, I'll find somebody. Finally, okay. Sorry. The downsides to having cleared out an entire area. There we go, okay. So, these guys are mildly terrifying. The Oculus doesn't really need to do very much at all. He's mostly there for like the synergies and abilities that he brings via his talent tree, which is kind of nice. He's got Slime Shot, of course, which will poison stuff as well, which is just nice to have. Spark Shower cannot be dodged, which is good in its own way. And of course, if he wants to just slow things down, you have the Sticky Web, which of course will decrease enemy dodge chances and damage dealt as well, which is quite nice, actually, I gotta say. The Beetloid is here for buffs and shielding. He can apply some buffing as well, or just go for shock damage. Either way, that's fine. And then our Promethean is here just to utterly ruin things once he gets set up. So, gonna start us off with some Sticky Web. Slow things down, because after all, you'll see as well these guys excel at stacking on shock. We just triple stacked shock on that third Spectre, which is absolutely mind-boggling to me. I love this team. It's kind of hilarious. Some shielding from the Beetloid. Keep us nice and protected. Oh, look, more shock. Now, we only have 6 charge stacks on our Promethean so far, which just isn't enough yet, so that's fine. Let's do more shielding. And also pack on some glory as well. Tsune is welcome to steal as many of our buffs as she likes. It's not going to matter very much once we get rolling. Basically, the Oculus and Beetloid are both light shifted, which means they both have, I think it's called leadership, where if they get a charge stack, they share it with somebody else on their team. So effectively, if anybody on your team gets a charge stack, the Promethean also gets one. Or has a very high chance of getting one anyway. So that's kind of hilarious to me. Let's keep packing on some tether. Keep them all nice and tied up. Keep applying those debuffs. I like it. Let's go ahead and cast on some enchantment, because health is good. Also, it makes our charge stacks go through the roof. The Promethean is already well past where he has to be, because see, the Promethean has the same talent that our Goblin Pilot did. If you guys recall, our Goblin team, where I was so happy with, because he had this thing called, I think it's called Overcharge, or I'll find the exact name in a moment. But essentially, when he's above 17 charge stacks, his magic stat is increased by his physical stat. And his physical stat is huge, I should mention, by the way. The Promethean has a huge attack stat, but he adds it to his magic stat, which means Thunderstrike right now is basically just, well, here, let me show you. You see how this person has full health? Well, it's not quite full. But like, of course, they're weak to it too, which is gonna make it even more hilarious. But yeah, just, you know, goodbye. 11,000 damage. Dead. Dead. It's fantastic. See? As long as those charge stacks go up, And of course, the Promethean has the same ability as the Graphonic's Dark Shift does when Dark Shifted. Slow burn, so he only uses a third of his 1/3 of his charge stacks whenever he attacks. So it keeps going. Like, he keeps getting progressively stronger, and by, like, you just saw, by turn 2, he's chucking down 11,000 damage lightning bolts. Just hilarious. It's absurd. I love it. It's too good. It's fantastic. Just and like they're not fantastic at debuffing because they can't stack anything too much. Like the only debuff that this team can stack is shock. So like you can get 1 poison and 1 burn in, and yeah, you have fatal upkeep from the Oculus. So like it doesn't do nothing, but it's not really the point of them. You know what I mean? So still, it's nice to have a little bit here and there. And all the shock damage is kind of nice too, I gotta say. And then let's go ahead and just finish her off with, you know, 13,000 lightning bolt critical hit. Yeah, that's yep. Now, granted, we only got a 4-star, but like this team is hilarious to me. So let me show you why they work so well together. So these guys both kind of function in support of the Promethean. The Promethean is kind of the main part of the team, but he wouldn't work half as well without these 2 guys to back him up. So I'll just start with the Oculus. The Oculus is here for support and setup. That's all it's here for. It has Slime Shot for combo building and for poison, so you want to have the max of that one. He's got Encapsulate for in case anybody on the team is in desperate danger of dying. You can both heal and shield, which is quite nice. You can also purify debuffs that way as well, which is also quite nice. I was tempted to take Healing Wave, but I didn't really need both of these things. And he doesn't need Protect because honestly, I mean, you could take Protect, I suppose, but and it might even shield himself for more, I guess. But I like the one thing this team has going for it really nicely is how much defense it has. And if anybody wants to do Protect, I think the Promethean is the best choice. He has the most health. His defense is staggeringly good. And even then, it isn't the point of him. But you know, there's almost nobody on this team that needs to be protected for. They're all quite tanky, so that's not really a concern I'm too worried about. So I think Encapsulate is fine. I went with Spark Shower, although honestly I'm kind of tempted to take Solar Burst instead, because it is a way to apply burn to the whole enemy team. But that said, as you saw, like I didn't even use a fire move, and they all had burn like in no time. Like this team excels at pouring on like what limited debuffs they have. They get them on there pretty fast, so I'm not too worried about it. Every hit has a chance to apply burn, fatal upkeep for, you know, like they may not stack a lot of debuffs, but the ones they have at least do more damage, which is nice. Whenever you apply a debuff, there's a chance to gain a random buff. Whenever you heal somebody on your team, they get 2 random buffs. Defense proc, because, you know, defense, as I said, is this team's like forte. Whenever you apply a debuff, you get extra hits, and extra hits means more debuffs. All that good stuff. Healing shield, so whenever you apply a shield, you also heal, which of course goes well with Encapsulate, which already heals. Purify removes debuffs whenever you're healing somebody, which is really nice. Whenever you shield yourself, whenever you get a charge stack, you also shield yourself, so more shielding. Whenever it spends a turn without attacking, it gains charge stacks, which means if you want to just use a shielding action, or if you want to, you know, like it's just a way to gain more charge for your Promethean. It all works back, you know, into it. Whenever an enemy takes shock damage, there's a chance to apply poison. So even if you don't use Slime Shot, poison is going to happen because this team dishes out tremendous amounts of shock, so it's fine. Whenever you use a healing action, your monster with the lowest health also are healed by a chunk of your defense, which again is quite high. You take less damage from things for each debuff on them. If they ever spend a turn where you don't attack, which of course we already have meditation, so you will once in a while, you can debuff things that way. I've went ahead and threw in some extra health just to make it even harder to kill. Twice, actually. There's this one and another one somewhere else, I think. I've lost track of it though. It's here somewhere. Over there. That one. It doesn't have a lot of health ups, but it was a little bit on the frail side before that, so I went ahead and threw them in. It's nice actually too because a Giant Bane or Giant Killer, Giant's Bane, makes certain monsters like the troll here do more damage against things with a health rating of 7 or more. But the Oculus only has 2 health up talents, so the most it can have is 6. So even with both of them, it still is safe from Giant's Bane, which I do appreciate actually. It's a nice way to have like more health, but not enough that you might come under fire from those guys, which is kind of reassuring, honestly. Electrify because again, shock. You know, shock everywhere. Hex for random debuffs, so you can even throw in some chill or weakness or armor crush or armor break if you're lucky. So it's all in there. Saboteur shield. Whenever you debuff something, you get more shield. This thing exists to shield and to propagate debuffs. It also has Intelligent Swarm. Whenever an insect or construct monster in the party applies a buff or a debuff, it gains a charge stack. Oh look, more charge stacks. And then this web thing is just great for pinning down enemies that are slippery. So that's quite nice too. So that's the Oculus. It exists to again just be a pain in the butt. Haven't got to its ultimates yet. Ion Beam is of course quite tempting for more debuffs. Replenish is honestly one I'm quite strongly drawn to as well, because if you ever needed just a big panic button of, oh no, I'm dying, whoop, well, you're now healed and shielded. Fantastic. His magic stat is pretty high, so getting two hits of 300 plus half your magic would be like 600 base health and base shielding, and, you know, 446 from the two half stacks of magic and shielding, so that's over 700 healing and shielding. Not too shabby. And of course, if you really want to have some more earth damage, you can do Hades as well, which can apply poison and burn. So tempting, but honestly, like, this team doesn't stack debuffs enough to make that like all that tempting. Probably go with Replenish on that one. Next is the Beetloid, which honestly does a lot of the same things as the Oculus does, but it has different talents. So the Beetloid is mostly where your buffs are coming from. It's got sorcery and barrier, it's got sorcery and regen. This thing stacks sorcery every which way. Even has shared sorcery, so when it gains sorcery, something else gains sorcery too. Also makes it so that sorcery also increases your crit chance. This thing loves sorcery, it does. It even multi-stacks it on itself, why not? And hey, whenever this thing gains a buff, it gains a charge stack. And as we've established, whenever it gains a charge stack, something else does too. You know, it's kind of fantastic. Like, the charge synergy in this team is nuts. Whenever anybody is shielded, they take 50% less damage. And guess what? You're always shielded on this team, because why wouldn't you be? Every wind attack has a chance to apply shock, because, again, shock. Charge beam applies sorcery to itself, which again is a great way. If you don't feel like taking a turn to buff your whole team, just fire off a charge beam, and hey, you have sorcery, and because of shared sorcery, so does somebody else. You know, that's 2 sorcery buffs right off the top. And hey, 2 buffs, you know what that means? 2 charge stacks. You know what I mean? Like, it all feeds together so well. I love it. Buffing shield, whenever applying a buff, also apply shielding, which, hey, you know, this thing loves to buff, it loves to shield. Combo shielding twice over means that whenever you use a shield action, you can shield an ally with the lowest shield by a third of this creature's defense. This thing's defense is over 500, which is kind of ridiculous. And of course, shield itself, which is three hits of 200 plus a fifth of your defense. So that's 300. Because it's got, you know, 500 plus defense, so at least 300. 3 times, it's 900 shield, not too shabby. Over this tree, I went with Voltage up until I went to Thunderstorm, because honestly, all I really wanted was to get down to this, Chain Lightning, which I'll explain in a moment. If ever you are in a pinch and need to need to just throw shock at everything, Thunderstorm's pretty good for that. But most of this tree most of what you want out of this tree is these 3 things. Energize is a unique aura. Your monsters in your party recover 7.5% of their max health every time they trigger shock damage. And as mentioned, shock is everywhere in this team. Charge amplifier. Charge stacks are 40% stronger. So, you know, yeah, it's only 3% per charge stack, but this squad that you saw in like 3-4 turns, our Promethean was up to like 40 stacks. So 40 times 3%, you know, is 120%. 40% better at that point is pretty good. So I'll take it, you know. And then Chain Lightning. Whenever a monster in the party applies shock on an enemy, there's a chance to spread it to another enemy. Shock everywhere. Everything's got shock now. Everything. Tempted to, honestly, I skipped Heroism because this thing's not really a damage doer on its own. I might take Buffing Heal. I don't know. He doesn't really like he does buff, but like after a certain point, it's hard to get more buff, so it kind of falls off in usefulness a little bit. Went with Revenge because in case he does get hit, he generates charge, which, as we know, will feed back into everybody else getting charge. So that's nice. Combo Buffing because more buffs are good, and of course, Charging Shield, same as the Oculus has, means that whenever you gain a charge, you gain a shield. So that's pretty awesome. As far as ultimates go, Full Potential is kind of nice. It gives you a huge buff thing. Armor Up shields the whole party and gives Barrier and Glory, which is quite tempting as well. Electrocute it hits the entire enemy party and has a chance to apply Shock, which is just a better Thunderstorm. So I probably would go with either Armor Up or Electrocute, personally. Just to kind of, you know, fully capitalize on everyone getting as protected as possible, or just here have all the shock. Although honestly, they already do that, so probably Armor Up, frankly. And then the Promethean, the hi, I've received all the shock and all the charges, and now you're going to die part of the team. This guy capitalizes on the shock that he receives from his team so well. Honestly, like, I almost, like, I wanted to give him level 5 Lightning Punch, but frankly, he doesn't need it. Because with the amount of damage he puts out between Heavy Punch and Thunder Strike, he's basically covered. Unless something straight up resists all physical attacks and all lightning, one of the two of these will shut them down. Like, it's just how it's gonna be. Like, he does so much damage, it's just silly. So, took Shocking Current, because of course, having a chance to apply Shock. Honestly, you could almost take this off of him. Like, he's the finishing blow. I might remove that just to put the point somewhere else. He pretty much doesn't need it. There's so much shock coming out of these two that he almost, like, just doesn't even require this. Supercharged is the talent that he most relies on. As long as he has 15, not 17, my bad. As long as he has 15 or more charge stacks, his magic is increased by its 100% of its attack stat. Its magic stat is 490, because whenever I see Supercharge, my immediate response is Moonsword. I adore the Moonsword on these types of monsters because it gives 300 attack and 300 magic. It's a tremendously powerful weapon for hybrid monsters, and in this case, it basically gives 600 magic because it's putting the attack into your magic. So it gives you a absolutely enormous offensive potential because his attack stat is 686, his magic is 490. You combine the two of them, and he's got a magic stat of over 1,000, over 1,100 actually, which is a little disgusting. It's fantastic. I love it. It's so good. Multi-shock, because again, just shock all day. Plus, it's weird to me that nobody else can stack shock in this team but him. I'm glad somebody has it, though, but it's funny that no one else can. So that's almost necessary, frankly, because more shock is just better for this team. Attack proc, because why not? Even when he's using his crazy lightning bolts, he still benefits from having a high attack stat. Steampunk. Each construct in your party applies shock on a random enemy after each action. You are guaranteed shock in this team. You don't even have to have a chance. Just here, shock things. They're all constructs, by the way, in case that wasn't clear. Went with attack plus, as well as defense and attack plus. Like, I actually went ahead and stacked this guy up some, because he has health focus and defense focus, and benefits from both. Like, his defense goes up by 1.5% of his health, and his attack and magic go up by 15% of his defense. So, in theory, you can build him health, and it'll also raise his defense, which will also raise his attack and magic. But it's more efficient to raise his defense, because it's only 1.5% of his health that goes into defense. So that's, 1.5 out of every 100, 15 out of every 1,000. Even at 4,000 health, that's only, 60 more defense? Which is good for defense, but then 60 more defense translates to, 15% of that. actually goes over to his attack and magic. You know what I mean? So it quickly dwindles down. It's more efficient to just give him more defense in the first place. At least I think so. There's nothing wrong with giving him both, though. But I just, because I was either give him 300 more health or give him 34 more defense. And I felt like it made more sense to go with defense. And then more attack because, like, damage, yay, basically. For this tree, heavy punch is where it's at. You want to just have that huge walloping finishing blow to go with supercharge. Although, that's fair actually. Supercharge doesn't benefit heavy punch at all, unfortunately. I should mention. But with the number of charge stacks he has and his high attack stat, even though it'll do less damage than Thunderstrike, it'll still do a big whopping, you know, hunk of damage. Because like Thunderstrike is 460% magic damage plus additional hits based on shock, and that's a lot of damage. It works out to more because of his combined physical and magical stat. But the heavy punch is a 565% physical hit. Like, it's just hits really hard. So it won't be as good as the Thunderstrike, but it won't be that far behind. So that's kind of your next best option for just, you know, if stuff resists lightning, I'll just punch you with this instead. He does have Protect up to a certain point, but mostly I just wanted to get him down to Forge. It is a really, really good shield. It gets him, you know, 550 plus his full attack stat, so over 1,000 shield plus glory buff to your whole party. The party doesn't really benefit too much from glory. They don't have any way of improving on it, or like making use of it, or even stacking it. But it's just nice to have. It's more crit damage. You know what I mean? So that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not a crit team though, but the shielding is honestly like the main purpose of it there, frankly, for me. Shock charging. Whenever a monster in the party triggers shock, it gets 2 charge stacks. So again, if you trigger shock, more charge. And charged rebirth is kind of like Phoenix, but honestly, like, it only works the first time, but it kind of works better than Phoenix in some ways because it does consume all your charge stacks, which you would lose if you, I mean, even the Graphonics, whenever it gets knocked out and like revives via Phoenix, it loses all of its charge stacks anyway. So this way, when you get knocked out, you use those charge stacks, and the more you have, the more health you have when you come back. So if you have a lot of charge stacks, you can actually come back with like over half your health, which is quite nice. Over here, honestly, it has full offense and full utility, which is pretty cool. They're honestly not that different. The only real difference at top level is offense gives might and sorcery, and utility gives barrier and regen. And that's all well and good, but considering both of those things are covered by the Beetloid quite handily, I felt like offense was the better way to go. And if I desperately need channel, he actually has emergency channel over here, which I might give him. I'm not quite certain yet. But ultimately, what I wanted out of this tree was combo buffing, because he can buff with Forge, and mana upkeep. It was like the 2 things I wanted most on this side of things. Over here, whenever he applies a buff, gains a charge stack, and then of course energy conversion. Whenever a monster in the party consumes charge, it is also healed. So he can heal himself on the go with that. It's pretty awesome. You know, that's more or less the idea of this character, or this monster. I might take off Shocking Current in favor of Emergency Channel, just in case. I mean, he hasn't needed it yet, but doesn't mean he won't. Charge Start is tempting as well. It kind of starts, you know, like he doesn't really need Charge Start, but it kicks, you know, if it can get him to those big lightning bolts faster, then that's not necessarily a bad thing. And if I'm ever just, you know, if ever you don't know where to put your points, hey look, there's more attack, and more attack is more magic, so that's fine too. So that's kind of how these guys roll out. I'm super duper impressed with these guys so far. They hit so hard. Let me take you guys back to Godhelm 1 second. So let me show you like why this team impressed me so much, because like I really thought that the occult team we had going here was like untouchable. Like between the debuffs and the shield, the armor crushing and all that great stuff, I figured these guys had it down. And then we'll just watch what happens. Like, yes, we stack up some debuffs, but look at the charge stacking. Because we're a multi-hit team. Actually, I might be able to shut down the Prometheus right away. Actually, that's lucky. But see, it revives right away. So it gets buffing. Up come the charges. The punch is there to start things off. Like, it's actually really difficult for like this team to like take them down, even though we heal so fast. Well, let me show you what happens here. Some shielding on for us. Now watch, it'll be funny if this is the one time I actually manage to beat these guys. But let's see. Shred some buffs there. Okay, we'll say that. Honestly, that's going better for me so far. I guess now that I understand the team better because I've built it myself, I guess I'm more equipped to handle them. But like that for me, that took me apart the first time around I tried this. So my troll's health is not doing so well there. Yeah, no, okay. See, it's funny. I could not beat this team on my own, but now that I'm actually trying to show you guys, now it's like, hey, look, you're winning. Good for you. Well, I was, I guess. I will say that Godhelm's version of the team is like the complete version. He has constructs the whole way through. Like, his entire team is constructs. Which is the one thing I probably should do, is stop thinking of teams in, like, cells of 3, and start doing, like, actually, like, the whole team as a single cohesive thing. That would make a lot of sense, but I keep not doing that, so. Worth mentioning that my mages, or sorry, my spirit backup team has no gear, I should mention, but, well, there we go. Okay, so I guess I'm wrong there. Wait, so I suppose the point I was trying to make was how strong the lightning team is, but I guess now that I understand them better, I guess it proves that I guess these guys are still pretty good. Okay, wasn't exactly the point I was trying to make there, but I've saved them as Team Thunderstruck, which I might go back in there and add in some more constructs. Honestly, I don't want to totally copy Godhelm's build. I like these three as they are because of their crazy shock synergy. I might throw in a Crackle Knight because he's got some as well. I've never actually used the Solaire Knight either, so that's not what he's called. That's what I call him. He's Solaire from Dark Souls. Where is he? The Crackle Knight. No, not Crackle, sorry. The... here somewhere. There he is. The Sizzle Knight, yeah, this guy. He reminds me of Solaire. I've never actually used one of them before, so I might break one of them out as well as kind of an extra facet of the team. That's certainly a possibility. It's all constructs anyway, so like the Ornithopter's worth considering. The Polter Oven, this is basically the team that like Godhelm has, is Ornithopter, Polter Oven, and Sizzle Knight. But if we're looking for constructs though, Some more options we might consider. We have, of course, the Steam Golem. I don't know. I don't even have a Golem on me, do I? No, I might not. I might need to go, like, find one and, like, you know, get it shifted or something. So the Golem is an option. You've got Construct. I guess that's most of them, isn't it? What if the Goblin Pot counts as a construct? He probably does, doesn't he? Construct. Oh, the Mimic. Ooh, actually. Yeah, the Goblin Pot does too. So I suppose you could like switch in the. I wonder if you could do that actually. Hang on. How valid would it be to try and switch in this guy? He builds his charge mostly off of burn, though, I think. Yes? Yeah, he has fuel. Of course, I mean, the enemy team has some burn on it, too. This guy doesn't... One problem with him, though, is unlike the Promethean, he doesn't give multi-stack for shock. And he doesn't benefit from shock, either. Like, he's definitely more fire-based. Which is kind of unfortunate. He might go well with the Graphonics, though, honestly. I think I may need to refine the burn team as well. Because that's kind of why I didn't want to use these guys for the shock team, because they're more fire-based. But Polteroffen and this guy go pretty well together as far as fire goes. And you know what? With the Sizzle Knight, I think the Sizzle Knight's got some fire skills too. He has chain lightning, same as the Beetloid does. I think it was the Beetloid. Yeah. But it's unique, so you can't like stack that one. But at least they both have it. This is one that this is the one that I liked. Was a chain reaction. Whenever he attacks one thing, it actually causes all the shock debuff damage to go off for the entire enemy team, which would be pretty awesome. I gotta say, like he definitely has some synergy to be considered there. But hey, let me nip over to the tree real quick and evolve him and see what that gets us. I'm kind of intrigued now. Sunstone. There we go. Praise the sun! What you got now? Alright, so he's got dual wield. That's, I guess, one thing to consider as well. Is kind of what this guy has to offer here. Like, he has equipment mastery for an extra accessory, or he has dual wield. Which is kind of interesting. It doesn't synergize as well with the rest of the crew as, like, maybe I'd like, but it's not bad. He, of course, has charged up, which gets him more damage, and takes less damage based on his charge stacks, capping at 15, and the Polteroffen has Utopia, which is actually pretty good for a charge build in general, because it gets him 3 charge stacks every turn, regardless of anything else, which is nice, but not necessarily the end of the world, because, like, honestly, I've seen kind of what some charge teams are capable of now, and 3 is not actually that impressive. It's not bad, but it's not terrible. It's not, you know. And, of course, it has blacksmithing as well, if you want to just crank your defense, health, mana regen, crit chance, and crit damage, but you know, from your gear. Higher stats too. Well, most of them. But quickly looking at the Sizzle Knight. See, he's got fire now. Still has chain reaction. That's amazing. See, he kind of works as a decent bridge between the teams now, I guess. Like, if you wanted to include like a fire element to your lightning team, you could kind of pinch hit for either one of them. Especially if you set up these guys first, and if they go down, the enemy already has shock everywhere. You just transfer over to fire mode and start building fire damage. That could maybe work. He's got multi-shock too. Hybrid Mastery. I don't know which of these I'd want though. And he also has Thunderstrike, worth mentioning. Lightning Slash is decent as well. Cleanse, remove buffs, defense focus, double defense focus. Dang. And crit focus? What? Can you even do that? That's cool. Weaponry. See, he also builds well into a warrior team. That's one of the things I was a little on the fence about. because that only benefits warriors, which on this team is him, I think. Yeah, just him. He works well with blind things too. He does more damage. Your team does more damage versus blind targets, which is interesting. I don't know. Like, I feel like there's potential here. Because he makes shock hits have increased crit and do more damage, but like that's still just the shock and not every hit on shock things. So I feel like there's potential here, but I don't know if it just doesn't synergize as well as the first three do. You know. So I don't quite know on that one. Every fire and wind hit have a chance to apply blind. I think if you were going for like a full-on blind team, this guy would go pretty well for that. I don't exactly know what I'm doing with that one though, honestly. Like, I hadn't really looked into this guy before this episode, so I'm kind of just going off like the seat of my pants here a little bit, you know? Just kind of throwing things together. Barrier, and I mean, channel's always good. I like channel. I don't know, like he slots in well with some things on the main squad, but I don't know. I'm not as convinced as I thought I would be. I do want to make a warrior team at some point, though, because there's several creatures that have weaponry and it's another example, weaponry and blacksmith. I think it is. You have it? No, someone does. I know someone does. The goat, maybe? Targoat, perhaps. Yeah, armory. Weaponry and armory are basically the exact same thing, but they this is like it's defense focused versus offense focused. Like, this one is defense, health, mana regen from gear is increased, and then this guy's version is weaponry, which is attack, magic, crit chance, and crit damage. So I'd love to have them both on the same team, but I need to make some kind of warrior team for that. So that's one thing I might consider this is a night for. But anyway, this is just kind of like me just toying around with it, just to see what I can come up with. The core team of Oculus, Beetloid, and Promethean, very solid. Quite happy with those. So I think on the next one, you guys, if I'm not drawn away by something else once again, like this warrior team idea that is now kind of in my brain, I'll probably try to make the ultimate Congeal team. I think that's something that I've always wanted to do with this game since learning what Congeal is. Because as far as I'm concerned, Congeal is still the best debuff in this game. Like, the increased burn damage from the Graphonics is still super nice, and it makes it, like, competitive, or more competitive with Congeal. But the simple fact that Congeal works off of Chill, which also cripples your enemy's mana, just makes it too good. Like, there's nothing in my mind that's as effective as, not only are you dying, but you can't hit me back. Or you can, but not as hard as you'd like to, because you have no mana. And I think that's fantastic. So I think next time around we will bring the cold. We will Congeal all day long. But for right now, hope you enjoyed Team Thunderstruck, and I hope I've given you some ideas. And yeah. If you'd like to join us for one of our live streams, we play a variety of different games on the channel, kind of whatever I'm feeling like doing. But I'll ask you guys for your input too, some of the time. We stream at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time every weekday, as well as Saturdays. But I take Sundays off. If you'd like to join our Discord, we have one of those as well. The link is on the main channel banner, or in the description of this video, or most things really. I'll also be adding in an appreciation page for our members, because I've been doing some overhauling for our memberships. So at the end of each video, there should be an appreciation screen for that as well. So hopefully that is good for you guys too. And yeah, so take care of yourselves because you're worth it. For now, I'm Monster Matt out, and bye-bye. See you in the next one.